Hello Stitchers, it's Nikki. Trying something slightly different because I'm terrible at remembering to make videos at the end of the month. Which, seeing as I'm usually watching everyone's Flosstube, you'd think I'd remember, but no, never make time for it. So I'm trying something slightly different now, and we're going to do a bit of a May update at the beginning here, but just on each project as I get to it. And then through a month I'll just do update snippets, and then the idea is that at the end of the month they can all be stitched together and we'll have a whole video. So, Gamer Nouveau from Gecko Rouge, and I stitched 2 pages of this in May, and my aim is to do 2 pages a month for the rest of the year. And if I manage to do that, then I will be on the last row of pages at the start of next year, which would be great for a finish next year. So if I can keep it up, we'll see how far I get. So I did, this was one of the pages and the other page here for May. This page was really nice to stitch compared to this bit here. So much confetti, the crisps and those little twiddly fine things. When it came to this page, the only bit I really had to fight with was that medallion, but I was expecting that. I really like how the folds of the dress are showing up now. So that is the top of her leg at the bottom there, showing off a bit of leg, naughty girl. And it's just folding over there. It's nice. So what I've stitched so far this month, I can't remember if I said the date. If I didn't, it's the 6th of June. So I started back on this one on the 1st of June, but I spent, I think 4 evenings so far on this one, or well, 2 of those days of the weekend, so a bit longer then. And I'm probably roughly halfway through the page, not quite. The hair is nice to stitch. I wish I had hair like that, so wavy and red and nice. Some of the Tetris blocks behind, there's some really, I don't know if that's a Tetris block or a piranha plant hiding behind a hair. There's a lot of confetti in it, whatever. And over here we have the top of Link's head and his fringe, just his little hair poking through. So I'll probably just have half of him, and down here is the top outline for Mega Man. I never played Mega Man. I've played a bit of Zelda before, never Mega Man. So yeah, carrying on with this one. I'm being helped along the way a lot because I joined the Ultimate Cross Stitch group, and I've been doing their Count Your Stitches challenge. So it really helps me to keep my totals up on this one. I'd probably be able to do it anyway, but you know, it's fun doing a stitch along and counting stitches. So that's where I am with this one. I'm not going to stitch this one tonight. The weather's a bit rubbish now. Hopefully it's coming through okay. It'll be back out tomorrow. I've got the house to myself this evening, so I'm going to stitch on something else, and I'll just get that all set up and I'll show you what I'm doing there. See you in a bit. And we're back. I've got a bit of assisted lighting for this one, and I've got this voice recorder set up in a precarious position, so hopefully no accidents. The cat's outside, so it should be okay. Right, so this is Just Be. The artist is Jeff Haney, and it's from Heaven and Earth Designs. I got the threads for this one ages ago, and I was looking for something smaller to stitch, and I had the threads for this, so I thought, why not? I think I started it in March, and I've only really been stitching on it 1 day a week. It's usually when I'm on my own. 1 day a week, and I got the first page done, and although it's like a couple of months to get it done, it was actually only about 8 stitching days, so probably about my average, although this is a large format chart. So we're starting off, watch out for the shadows. Starting off with lots of clouds in the sky. It's a large format chart, which are easier to read when you're working from the printout. I usually use a PDF reader, but because this one's set up on a lap stand, I'm using paper. But the large format, I don't need to do any kind of resizing when I print it, which I normally do with the regular format ones. So I just print it out full size and it's fine. So the end of May, I had finished the first page and made a start on the second page. Try and get in here. That's the top of the cat's ear. It's nice and fluffy. It's so fuzzy around the edges. Really nice texture on it. So yeah, more clouds, more ears. Tonight will be the first night in June that I'm stitching this. What I did was I finished my 2 pages of Gamer with about 3 pages left in May. So I spent those last 3 days just working on this one, and that's the start that I made on page 2. So I'm not sure whether I'll be doing this one once I've done my 2 pages of Gamer, or just stitch this one day a week. I will see how I feel when I get that done. I was going to stitch on something else tonight, and then I remembered this one. Decided I want to stitch this one instead. That's how the secondary part of the rotation goes. 2 pages on Gamer, and then whatever I fancy for the rest of the month, and whatever I fancy on the odd days. So not a lot to see there at the moment. Hopefully we'll have a bit more of it growing during the month and you can watch it growing with me. Hi everyone, it's Sunday the 11th of June today, and I'm back for a bit more of an update. But first I'm going to show you some finishes I had, and hopefully I can get them without too much glare. This one is Spooked. I finished the stitching last year. I got the frame from an online framing company. I just get the frames bought and then actually pin it and frame it myself. It's a cheaper way of getting custom made frames. The only difficulty is you can't actually see the mouldings properly, you just get pictures of them. But I think this one's turned out really well for this sewing. It's like a nice dark wood. So first of my Halloween pictures done. And then, just reach over here. I also got a frame for Wherefore Art Thou. Now this one doesn't have any glass in it, mostly because of the size of this huge glass bead that comes with it as part of the the pattern. An Italian glass bead. So no glass because of that. Obviously I could have got it box framed, but I just run a lint roller over her every now and then to keep the dust off her. I really like the way as well, when it's hanging on the wall, the beads really sparkle in the light. I've got framed pieces that have been beaded and you just don't get that effect. So I don't know if it's to do with the beads or just the fact that you can see them better without the glass in front of them. So bead rolls around. So yeah, that's Wherefore Art Thou. That was the mystery memorabilia for 2016. I have to remember what last year was then. And that's her. And then the other one that I've got framed, again without glass, is Minerva from Nouveau. And again, the sparkles on the fabric and on the beads really show up a lot more when she's on the wall without the glass. Obviously you've got to keep the dust and bits and pieces off them, but luckily this room the cat doesn't come into very much, so it stays a bit more dust and cat fur free. I might have liked to have chosen a wider moulding for the frame, but then when you've only got so much wall space you probably don't want it all taken up by the mouldings. But I think it works without the mat That keeps the size down. Obviously if you put a mat in when you're framing, you're making the area bigger, so that's Minerva. What I've also been working on is I joined the Peakside Needleworks second birthday stitch along, and they chose this chart, which is Cherry Picker from La Di Da. A nice little sampler. I think it's actually charted for NPI silks or with a DMC conversion, but they selected some hand dyed threads. I think it's, let's see what they are, Classic Colourworks and Simply Shaker threads, just nice colours. So I started the beginning of June on this one, and I got the berry border in, and I'm now working on the basket. Now my basket looks a lot lighter than the one that's on the picture, but I didn't want to use this kind of pinky colour in the cherries. I wanted the red in that, so that's how I've chosen to use the colours that they sent through. I'm not sure if the bit in between the wicker's too dark, but you can't really tell until the whole thing's finished, but I think the colours are working well at the moment. The fabric is a 36 count vintage country mocha, and it's the first time I'm using this fabric. I know it can be a bit stiff, but it seems to be working well for me. I've used much stiffer fabric, so that's not really a problem. And I'm just stitching with one strand, doing full crosses over 2. And this month in the weekend mornings, I'm working on Santa Owl, which is Heaven and Earth Designs by Anya Kai. I'm working up here, oops, try not to get too much shadow on it, on the bubble and this bit of the hat. So I've got most of the red in, and I've got the white and the first colour, which gives this fuzziness around the bubble, so they just need to join up. What I've also got to do is I'm stitching this on Radioactive 25 count Lugana from Chromatic Alchemy, and removing the background as I go. Now there's 3 main colours in the background of this, which is all shades of green, which is similar to the fabric, so it works really well. But I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but what I've stitched so far, it doesn't stop at the red. I've put in some of the extra kind of fiddly little odd 1s and 2s colours that are around the edge. You can probably just about see the difference. Without it, the edge is much sharper, and it just seems to sit onto the fabric. It's not bringing that fabric in as the background. So what I've been doing is putting those odd little outline stitches in, and they really knit the two together. So it's a bit more work, because you've got one stitch of this colour, a couple of stitches of this colour, all the way around the edge of it, but for the end result I think it's going to be worth it. So hopefully get more of that done today. I stitched the bubble separately. I've got some red to do to join them, but I don't like stitching white thread through already existing red stitches. It just picks up too many of the red fibres and makes your white look a bit pink. This isn't actually white, it's 3865 DMC, which is a winter white colour. So just got to do some fluffiness on that, and that's the top part of that page done. I've only gridded so far across the page that I need. It's no point doing the whole page, I'm not stitching there. And then there's a bit of the owl just to fill in down here in one of his massive eyebrows. So that'll be good to get that done. And then when that's done, I've got to go over to this side and do some more owl over there. Hello, it's later on Sunday the 11th of June, and I've just finished off page 23. Yes, 23 of Gamer Nouveau. So I think when I showed you earlier in the week, I was just stitching on Link's hat and the top of his hair. So now we've got half a face, well, less than half a face, but a bit of his face. That was full of confetti. Some more of the Tetris blocks, nice and block stitching. So you get a real mix with this piece. There's areas where there's just blocks and blocks of stitching, especially when you get to the grey bits. There's blocks of it. And then there's bits where you are changing colour every couple of stitches. There's nowhere else to stitch it. So it does speed up and slow down. So I like the way the dress of the folds around the dress are showing up. There's a nice bit of shading going on there. And Mega Man, never played it. Not sure about that game at all. But there he is, waving at us from his little corner. So this, for the rest of today, I'm going to make a start on this end of row page. It's not as big as a regular size page. It's going to have a lot of confetti on the left hand side of it and a lot of grey to stitch on the right hand side of it. So it does mix up quite a lot on this one. The page 23, I was stitching on it for 8 days, evenings. Well, stitching time, 8 days. Hopefully this one might be a bit quicker. My plan is once I have stitched the 2 pages, rather than start on the next row straight away, I'll finish off the rest of the month working on something else. Not sure yet what I'm going to do, might mix up a few projects, all depends how much time I've got left in the month to stitch. So there we go, one last little pan across, crisps, and Sonic there. Of course, once I get on to the next row of pages, I'm going to have to scroll it, so I'll lose Sonic, which I'll miss him. So I don't ever really unwind them to look at them. I just keep them on the bars, on the stand, and we scroll up. So it's good, because once you unwind it, once you're finished, it's a nice surprise. You can see the whole thing again. Oh yeah, Cat, you're sitting in my sewing chair, aren't you? So I can't actually do any sewing at the moment, and well, that's not fair, is it? It's a sunny day, why don't you go and sit in the window and watch people outside like you normally do? You haven't been there all day, I've been doing some sewing. Just going to ignore me, aren't you? And pretend that you're asleep. Yes, I'm talking to you, Yelly Cat. Here we are, it is Sunday the 18th of June, that's what I want to say. I'm sure it is. So this week I have made a start on the end of row page. This is page 24 of 42. Does that sound right? After this I have 2 rows of full-size pages and 1 row of partial pages, which are mostly this kind of grey star background. So it's going to take a long time to do that because it's blocks. Anyway, here he is, the little guy that I've been working on for the last couple of days. His face is finished and he is just about finished, and he is full of confetti. It's taken me hours just to get through those few blocks, and there's not a lot of blocks there. There's only, I'd say it's just 40 by 40 I think, where mostly he is. But there's so many colour changes, you can probably just about pick it up in the sword there. And also in his face. So I'm just filling in some of the grey background. I'm just working down, be nice to get to down here tonight. Well, that won't take me long, It's whether I then decide to carry on with any more of this over here. Sometimes I'll just do see if I can grab it, a length of this grey colour, and then I'll start working on some of the confetti colours on the other side, and then when I'm fed up with that, I'll go back and do another length of the grey. Just breaks it up. So yeah, nearly finished another row of pages, and that will have taken me 3 months in total. That's quite nice. And that will be my second page of the month on this project. So once I've done this page, I'm actually going to switch over to something else for the rest of the month. I'm not sure what yet though. And I've also been working on Cherry Picker. I did a bit more last night. Never ending basket really. So finished off the body of the basket. There's a band to do, and then I get to the handle and then the blackbird. So it's going slowly, but I've only been working on it 1 day a week. It is so warm here today. Obviously everywhere else in the world would just laugh at what we consider warm, but it's too warm. I don't like it. There we go. Maybe I'll switch over later this evening and do some more of this once the sun's gone. It's the only advantage with sunny weather is that you've got lots of nice sunshine to work by. But our houses aren't set up for warm weather. We don't have any kind of air conditioning or anything like that. So when it's hot outside, it's hot inside. And when it's not breezy at all outside, you're not getting any fresh air in. There we go. Cherry Picker. That's from La Di Da, and I'm stitching it on 36 count vintage country mocha. I really like mottling on it. Quite like the fabric. I know some people find it quite stiff, but I'm alright with it. I'll be back in during the week and I'll do an update then of where I am on Just Be, because I've worked on it another week since I last showed you it. So we're getting closer to a page finish on that as well. Not quite, but it's nice to think it is. I actually really enjoy working on that one. So who knows if that's the one that I'll be working on for the rest of the month. But back on to Gamer now, and hopefully get that page finished so I can choose something else. Hello, Nikki here. It's Thursday the 22nd of June and I'm back with a quick update on Gamer. I finished my second page of the month. He's finally done. He's so cute. You might hear a bit of traffic outside because it's been so hot here recently and we've got windows open trying to cool it down a bit. So luckily the heat hasn't interrupted my sewing, and it gets very uncomfortable when you're not used to the heat. We don't get so much here, so when we do get everything grinds to a halt. It's just like when we get a tiny bit of snow, but luckily where I live we don't actually get a lot of snow. We used to remember it being snowy, but not so much now. But it's been very hot, which is why I'm probably thinking about snow. So there we go, that is page 24 completed. There are 3 more rows of pages left to do, and I did this row in 3 months. There's 2 pages a month, seems to be quite doable for me. I keep looking ahead and thinking, oh, this page is going to be really easy to sew. It's not going to take any time at all. And then I run into bits like him. He took ages. His head's probably like 400 stitches, but it took hours. There's so many colour changes. So he's done. He's cute. I love his little sword as well. So there we are, and that's it on this for this month. My aim is to do 2 pages a month, and then once I've done those 2 pages,
I spend the rest of the month doing whatever other large whip I feel like doing. And I'll be back in a second with the next whip that I'm going to be doing. And here we are with what I plan to be doing for the rest of the month, maybe. I might switch around, who knows. But I'm really enjoying this one, so I want to stitch it. This is Just Be from Heaven and Earth Designs. I've got the picture put away at the moment, so I can't really dig it out and show you right now. But it's a cat with a cool pair of sunglasses on. I'm sure I've put a picture in one of my other videos, or maybe even at the start of this video, who knows. I'll try and remember before the end of the month, when I show some more progress on him, that I'll get the picture out so you can see. So I've mostly been stitching Sky, and we're getting to the ear now, and he's kind of got these little flyaway bits with beads on, tufting out from all around him really. So that's the first one on his ear. I started doing it, working it down in rows of 10 because of all the background. It was kind of uninterrupted blocks and I didn't want any risk of lines. Now the lines that you can see are just the lines of the fabric that's coming through the light colours. You might be able to hear the cat crying outside. He's got company. He just wants to come in because the door's closed. He won't want me otherwise. He just wants feeding. So anyway, as I was saying, it's just the lines of the fabric. There is no lines on the stitching. But I was watching Jessie Marie's video on how she stitches her Heaven and Earth designs, and she was doing the diagonal 10 blocks. And I've started doing that, but I'm also following it over the line of 10 just to give it a little bit of a feathering. If lines are going to appear, they are worse in areas of light stitching, I find. And I think it's just because of the extra thread that you've got on the back just creates more, I don't know, the light doesn't bounce back as it normally would from the fabric, and that's why you see a line. So it's always worse on light colours for me. But there we go, it's stitching his ear. I'm also working on this one because I'm doing the Ultimate Cross Stitch Groups Count Your Stitches challenges. Well, there's a main one for the whole month, and that for me was Gamer. There's a non-counting one that I'm using this one for, but also there's been challenges all through the month for like class graduation, and you had to stitch different number of stitches each week. Now I've kept up with it. I get lots of stitching done during the week, get home from work, get all the jobs done, tea sorted out, and then I just sew. I don't have any other commitments. Lucky I can do that. Husband's either out or he's playing computer games or he's doing other bits. We sit in the same room, we still chat. But it does mean that I get lots of stitching time. And I've been listening to the Wheel of Time books as well. So I get quite into that and I get a lot of stitching done. So, yeah, so as I said, there's a Teacher's Pet Week now. And I've got to stitch 1,000 stitches. Already done 360 of them. So I'll get that done. Then I'll probably think I might try and get the page done. See if I can get that done by the end of the week. Got the weekend. I'm on my own on Saturday. I can get loads done. But I do want to do some out. I can get loads done. So I'm going to spend quite a lot of time on this. I'm also looking at getting back to stitching on Moon Sweet Moon. The Passion Ricamo was a stitch long, wasn't a stitch long after people started sharing their files. I've got the whole pattern now, so I'll probably sort out where I am on that and do some more of that. Maybe. I want to stitch this. You know, sometimes when you just want to stitch something because you really like it. And here's a gorgeous cat. I'm beginning to feel like a crazy cat lady. I've only got one. He's a bit demanding. He wouldn't put up with another cat in the house. He's a bully. But anyway, this is what I'm going to do tonight. I've got plans for lots of stitching for the weekend. And I need it after this week at work. So I'm going to have some me time, some concentrated me time. And I'm sure I'll be back at some point over the weekend just to show you where I am. See you later.
Hello, it's Sunday the 25th of June. Getting through the month now. Wow, 6 months and it's Christmas. That's good, isn't it? And speaking of Christmas, that's probably why I'm thinking of it. Santa Owl. I've managed to get this page done. It's there was just a bit of his head and that part of the hat with the bobble, pom-pom, whatever it is. So there we are. That's what I've been working on this month at the weekends. I would have got the page done sooner. There he is. That's how he's going to look. I'm removing the background as I stitch. So I would have got more done. I had hoped to be able to get over to this side, this page over here, so that I could get the top completely done. It's not done yet. But it's been so warm, and when it gets warm here, the upstairs rooms just bake, really. So last weekend was the hottest weekend of the year so far, and there was no way that I was going to be able to sit up here, and so even with a fan on, it was just moving around, stifling air. And there was no breeze outside either, so it was just one of those days where I just sat downstairs and stitched instead. Which means obviously that I've not done as much on this as I wanted to, but there we go, there's always other months. Now, I think for July I might swap back to Death by Cross Stitch. I'm going to just swap these out month by month, stitching at the weekend. Which means that I'll be back to this in August. And I have a bit of time off work in August, so I might be able to get a bit extra done. It'd be nice to get the top set of pages done. He isn't, well, I'd say he isn't that big. That's how big so far. He's fairly big. But in terms of a Heaven and Earth Designs pattern, he's not that large, especially as I'm not stitching the background. I think this is the middle page, which I kind of got in to get my bearings. So once I've finished off this top row, I'll be back to this middle row. I think it is the middle row. I think there's just another row of pages after that. There might be a bit more. It depends if I want to kind of ground him on the fabric. What I mean is there's this defined shadow underneath him, and that's darker than this background fabric, which means I might be able to make him look like he's sitting in a scene rather than just floating on a sea of green fabric. I'm not so sure about the eyebrow. Might look a bit chunky, but I wanted to get some depth to it. I'm sure it'll be fine. Once I get the other side into balance, we'll be able to see. So it does have some of his darker head colours at the top. It's just whether I've got too much of this underneath bit in. I can always do some unpicking later if it bothers me that much. And those darker colours are brought round in this section as well, so I was just worried that it would look too odd if I didn't put them on. Balance with, does it look too odd with them in? So I'll have to see how I go with that. But that's him for now, and this is the last weekend of the month, so I won't be working on him anymore now until August. And while I'm here, I thought I'd show you some progress on Cherry Picker. This is by La Di Da. And I'm stitching it as part of the Peakside Needleworks second birthday stitch along. So I had this middle band in. I think I'd started on the basket. So I've now got the basket complete. The colours are quite subtle. They're alright, I like it. And Blackbird. And last night I stitched the cherries. So I finished off stitching the green stems and leaves, and I stitched the cherries. Now, to get my bearings, I stitched this cherry first, and I just stitched it as I normally would. And it looks quite nice. But then when I was looking at the pattern while I was stitching all the green bits, I thought I'd stitch the reds in diagonal. So most of them go this way. These ones over here go the other way. And they've got, because it's like the darkest red, middle red, and then a kind of tanny colour for the highlights. But I thought if I stitched them diagonally, like that, it's almost as if you were doing a basket weave. Stitching them diagonally, I thought it might help, because of the way the colour variates and stripes almost, I thought it might look more rounded if I did them like that. So I'm quite happy with the way they've turned out. Before I packed everything away last night, it was really late night stitching last night, it was after midnight. I thought I'd get this darker colour in because that colour is the same as the Blackbird, which is Classic Colourworks Espresso Bean, I think. No, Gentle Arts, sorry. Gentle Arts. Now I'm doubting myself. Let me check. Be easier. Gentle Arts. That's because I've got Gentle Arts and Classic Colourworks in this, so it was 50-50. So, Gentle Arts Espresso Bean. And I was worried that it would look a bit odd next to the green, but actually stitching it next to the green has brought out the greener tones of the colour. So on its own it looks like really dark brown black, but over here, because it's next to the green, it pulls in some of that green and looks just like a very, very dark green. So I'm really happy with how that looks. So when I stitch on this one again, I'm going to get those leaves finished, and then it's a case of working around the border, bringing the border down, and then filling in an alphabet at the bottom. The alphabet is stitched in Muddy Puddle, which is a colour that hasn't been used on this so far, and there's a date that goes here, and that's stitched in the lighter brown that's in this basket. And as it's numbers, I'm worried about it disappearing into the fabric, and the fabric I'm using is Belfast Country Mocha. Belfast 32 count. 36 count, so I got Country Mocha fabric, whichever name that is. And I want it to stand out, so I'm going to stitch the date using the Muddy Puddle colour, and then that should bring the top section in with the bottom section and tie it all together nicely. So when will I work on this again? I may get some time to work on it in the week. I like seeing the progress come along, so I may do some more in the week, but if not, I'm off out on next Friday, so I'll take it with me and do it then. Might get a good bit done then.
I want to say that the alphabet will stitch up quickly. I always think something will stitch up quickly and then it takes forever. But it's really cute. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long to finish anyway. So that's it for now. This afternoon I'm going to work on more of Just Be. I'd like to get that page finished before the end of the week. It'd be nice to have... What would that take me to? That would be 4 pages done. So I've done 2 on Gamer, a page on Santa Owl. It's partial. Well, I'm not stitching 4 pages because I'm taking the background out. But it doesn't matter because it still counts as a page. I cross off to say a page, that's a page. And then so getting a page of Just Be done as well, that'd be a nice total for the month. So I'll be back again in the week. Might be just a quick recap before I get this all put together and uploaded. I'll see you later. Bye. Hello, it's the 29th of June. It's Thursday. And I'm filming this now because we're off out tomorrow, so I won't have time to do the update tomorrow. So I thought I'd film it now and we'll get it put together tonight, see how it looks, make sure the sound's okay, make sure it isn't terrible. So this is all I've been stitching on all week. It's Just Be from Heaven and Earth Designs, and the artist is Jeff Haney. And I finished page number 2. The large format pages, so they're a bit quicker to get done. But there is so much confetti in that ear, and you can probably tell because the fur just looks so fluffy. So I finished page number 2 and went straight on with page number 3, which so far has just been more sky. There's quite a lot of sparkly threads in the clouds. I'm using Petite Treasure braid, PB10, kind of the opalescent colour, and it does sparkle when the light's on it. I just don't think the camera will pick it up. Cameras never pick it up really. And yeah, that's what I've done so far. So gonna get a bit more done on this tonight. Tomorrow, as I said, we're off out, so I'm taking Cherry Picker with me for that trip. It's Friday. I'd usually stitch on Cherry Picker anyway, so work on that some more. Should be able to work my way down towards the alphabet on that, which I'm looking forward to, and then get back on Saturday, which is the 1st of July, and as it's the start of a new month, I'm going straight back onto Gamer Nouveau. I'm going to go onto that, get my 2 pages done, and then once those 2 pages are done, depending on how much time is left in July, I will decide what I'm going to stitch. It may very well be this. I really, really love working on this piece. And it's not huge, not for Heaven and Earth Designs. There's 24 pages in total, and that includes partial pages. So it's not too bad, not really. I like to think I can get them done quicker than I can actually get them done, which is a shame. So that's my plans. Rest of July, finishing off Cherry Picker hopefully, and then once that's done I'm going to go back to Simon's Cove from Plum Street Samplers. That's the plan at the moment anyway. And also at the weekends I'm planning on getting out Death by Cross Stitch again. So if this turns out okay, this should go up tonight. Should be available from tonight, depending on how well putting it together goes. And if it's alright and if it's worked well, I'll probably follow a similar format for July. I think I probably talk more about my sewings when I'm doing that. It's just whether it looks terrible. My camera work's not the greatest.
So, hope you've all had a great month for sewing, and thank you for taking the time to watch and comment and like and all those other lovely things you do. But really, just watching and knowing that you enjoyed it is enough. And yeah, hopefully you've got some great plans for July. I think they might start seeing some Christmas in July pieces, which is funny, seeing as I'm putting my Christmas piece away for the month. But look forward to see what everyone else is working on and hear what you've all been getting up to. So with that, I'll see you next month. Bye for now.